welcome to the TGAM WGM, or the That Guy's a Maniac weekly general meeting, where we discuss what Richie and Farley should be discussing this week. Along with that, there's a couple of things I wanted to mention and bring up, but before I go any further, I want to hand over to my good assistant Farley. Can you remind everyone at the meeting where that guys can be found?
As you'll all remember from the recent email to all members of staff, if you work here, you should be following That Guy's a Maniac on their social media. Some rumours are that because they want more followers, but actually, it's because everybody here should really be keeping in touch with what the guys are posting on That Guy's a Maniac, and you'll find, of course, you'll all know this, but I'll just remind you all, you'll find them at That Guy's a Maniac on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and even YouTube, although they don't post very much there. Actually, we should bring that up next meeting about not using some of the channels they have. And of course, the home of That Guy's a Maniac, www.thatguys.co.uk. So I really want to see you liking, commenting on every single post, please. And if you don't, we might have to have a look at your employment status here.
Oof, brutal. You heard it from head of HR, Farley himself.
Of course, I didn't say that because it's not legal to fire people on those grounds, but have a think about it.
Yeah. Shots have been fired. So, first thing I really wanted to bring up here was apparently the use of the TGAM WGM as an intro for the show isn't meta enough.
Okay.
So we're just wondering how we can sort of establish and change that and make that a bit more fourth wall breaking, perhaps.
Maybe we could bring in some actors who could act to make that bit sound a bit more convincing.
Oh, okay. Wow, that was brutal shade. Right, on to this week. So, we recently did a little quiz quizaroo, where Farley had picked up some old stuck together magazine and grabbed some pictures. Pictures? Yeah. We grabbed some pictures of images of questions. And we chatted through them. And this week, Richie's done the same. So, yeah.
I think,
shall we dive into it?
Yeah, an alternative framing for this. This is behind the scenes of the podcast. Would have been perhaps. Actually, it's a semi-serious idea. It's probably would have been done. But maybe it has already been done. There are a whole bunch of weird. Do you remember kind of like geek dating sites? I want to say in the mid noughties. But perhaps a series of these questions you could fill out. As opposed to your normal dating question.
Oh yeah.
And then you match.
I'm sure that already exists, like geek dating.
Match people up depending on whether they like Ken or Ryu. Or you can choose whether you go for like similar or whether you go for like opposite.
Yeah, exactly. So if you're playing as Ken, I have to play as Ryu to be a good match. Sort of thing. Yeah.
Or do you want to be perfectly matched? Do you want to have a mirror match relationship or a palette swap relationship?
God, these palette swappers, 99% of all palette swap relationships end in divorce. 99%, that's quite a high percentage.
Yes, that's significant, statistically significant.
Yeah, that is very significant. But yeah, anyway, so I've sparked up a few questions which I
You've sparked up a question.
Well, I've sparked up a big doobie.
You've rolled a whole bunch of questions.
Sparked that bad boy up.
Sparking that bad boy up.
No. Well, okay, I have collated some questions to spark debate. Nice. Which was the actual sentence that formed in my head. I just said it much quicker than I should do. Yeah.
Smushed it together and removed half the words.
Yeah, exactly. It's classic Richie, brains faster than the mouth, or something. One of the ways around it.
Yeah.
So straight in.
Okay.
Farley, are visual novels games?
That's not a yes or no question, is it?
It's not a yes or no question. Although you could say yes or no.
That's true. It is a yes or no question. That's what I meant.
It might be definitive.
Are visual novels? Okay. I'll be honest with you, Scylla. I haven't.
Let's move away from the dating app side of things here. We did the compatibility quiz in season 1. Let's leave it there.
Yeah. I've not really played that many visual novels. And the ones I have played are borderline puzzle games / visual novels, like your Hotel Dusks, your Another Code.
Yeah, like what's the one with the tanks in World War II that you like?
The tanks in World War II.
Yeah.
No, that has a whole RTS in it.
Yeah, exactly, but it's a visual novel with an RTS game.
Okay, you spend 99% of your time playing the RTS.
Okay. I thought it was like 50% of the time you're just watching people clicking through the text as they appear and disappear.
No, most of the time is you clicking on little people in tanks and moving them around, and then there's cutscenes in between.
Oh.
And apart from that guy's a game, that guy's a Maniac the game.
Part 3, the origins, or something.
Yes, something hilarious and edgy like that. Yeah, I haven't really played many of them. Virtue's Last Reward, is that? I get them all confused. There's one that's like an escape room.
Yeah, probably. But if it's an escape room, then it's definitely a puzzle.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think it's a tough one from my point of view because everything about them screams computer game. 1, they're digital. 2, they've got art assets. But there's no puzzle element. It's like everything about a game, but without the game. Or everything about a video game, but without any actual puzzle grinding or turn-based or anything in between.
I think if you have to make a choice that affects the outcome, maybe that is definitely a game.
But then, you can throw that into like a choose-your-own-adventure.
Yeah,
kind of thing.
Yeah, if it's I think it has to be significant. So it can't just be, you know how sometimes it's quite prominent at the moment, or it's just become part of the general landscape of gaming to give people the idea of a choice. Yes. That you can tell from the structure of the response that you would have said this either way.
Yeah. I mean, they've had that like in like Skyrim and Oblivion that regardless of how that you're actually going to answer, the NPC will talk back to you in exactly the same dialogue, regardless, and you're just like,
Yeah. Pokemon. I was replaying Pokemon Sword and Shield, and it has it in there a lot.
Yeah,
it's pointless, right? You'd be like, do you want to do this? And you could say, the yes, I would, or you could say like, put spaghetti.
The worst is when you say
and then
no,
the response,
and then
like,
it is.
I knew you'd be like that. You're quirky, and
yeah. The worst is in games when you press no, and then it just stops the dialogue, and then you just have to talk to them again until you say yes. Now that's usually just because if you do this, you're going to move beyond the plot to this point. So, are you sure you want to go forward? But they masquerade it as something, something else. Like, are you sure you want to fight the Elite Four now? Are you sure? Could you not go to the Pokemon Center and get
Yeah.
yourself some potions?
Yeah, or the fucking daycare woman
Yeah.
scams you every time you go to check to pick up the eggs, to pick up one of your breeding Pokemon.
Yep.
So I think if you, if there are visual novels out there where essentially you just click through it, right?
Yeah, I mean,
reading
I
a
think,
book.
Yeah, exactly. A lot of it is just a very, very. It's a book in video game format. Sometimes, I mean, visual novel is literally what I could have just said. But yeah,
there's a difference between an interactive book, which is stupid because all books are interactive, and a visual novel.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'd set my bar pretty low. I think if there's choices you can make, which just change the outcome of the story in significant ways.
Yeah.
Then that's
like you get a bit of different ending art or whatever, something like that.
Yeah. Or if you looked at the flow chart, like in I think Beyond Two Souls, kind of after you did a level would show you the flow chart of you could have made a choice here. But if that flow chart is essentially the same, it's just the way you got there.
Yeah.
Then presented through a visual novel format, i.e. clicking through text with anime girls with different poses, faces, emotions.
Different emotions, yeah.
Then but like I say, not really felt compelled. And I think it's because, or a part of it is because I can never seem to cater these things for my reading speed. So I'm always switching between, I'll do it on auto because I'm sick of just pressing A too much. But then auto will be slow, so then I'll have to press A too much. And as tiny a niggle as that is, it does put me off.
Oh, okay. Yeah, like, that's justifiable. I get it, absolutely.
Yeah.
I don't have too many issues pressing A to have the ability to turn it off and on. But I'm one of these people who, as soon as I can, I hate any slow appearing text. It fucks me off in so many games. So it's like, make it all appear immediately. I'll read it at my own pace.
Yeah.
Do not scroll and make the thing appear, especially if there's no audio to go with it either. If it's being shown to you at a speaking speed as like somebody is saying it, you know what I mean. Then that's fine. But otherwise, stop doing that. It's awful in video games.
I do feel bad. I think in Fire Emblem Three Houses, because they all have audio and there's a little bit of animation around the characters. I just skip through it. It'll be, they'll have a little one. They'll do the manga expressions. But if you just skip through the text, you don't see any of that. And so I do feel a little bit bad. It's obviously huge amounts of effort have gone into it, but do I really want to spend?
I mean, don't get hung up on the huge amount of effort that's gone into it. Yeah. Then you have to walk through the streets and appreciate every building and think, oh my god, think of all the work that was put into just the foundation of this house.
Yeah, but at least the building exists for a reason and people live in it. Whereas me blasting through Fire Emblem, no one's going to see that.
Yeah. But on the note of visual novels, Doki Doki Literature Club.
It's one of your favourites, isn't it?
Yeah. You can't get past it. You don't believe me when I tell you it's a psychological horror.
I think I watched part of a Let's Play, but I don't know. Let's Play visual novels.
Yeah. No. That is practically the same as playing it. Let's Play is just somebody else pressing A for you, and imagine that would be even more frustrating for you.
Yeah. Or talking over it. Somebody talking over a visual novel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, but as games go, it is a game visual novel, and it fucks up so many tropes. It's such a great thing. I mean, it was literally like, I think it was free when it first came out on the PC, and it was like, oh right, what is this? And everyone was saying it's the best psychological horror, and I was like, what are you talking about? This is like anime girls. What are they doing? And then
you Puritan Richie was just like, oh, this is so fucking outrageous and disgusting. I will download it and play it.
yeah, absolutely. My what was it? The what's the woman in America that you compared me to?
The woman in America?
Yeah, the one that hates everything. Super Puritan.
It's ringing no bells.
Oh my god, it's probably from the 80s. She's like a woman who would campaign against everything and anything.
Mary
outrageous.
Whitehouse?
Yes!
She's British.
Is she?
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah,
I probably think American because of the name White House.
I know.
I have zero. I don't even know who this woman is.
British teacher and conservative activist. I remember seeing her on TV growing up.
Ah, okay.
Sorry, yeah, Mary Whitehouse. I'm so outraged with this disgusting product.
Yeah, you're gonna go and play it. No,
slowly play all the way through it and get every ending.
Every single ending possible out of it, yeah.
Just to work out exactly how
this filth. No. And I mean, like, there's like, it is anime schoolgirls, and you're just like, is this appropriate for someone to be playing?
Yeah.
But then, of course, there is the underlying, this is a psychological horror, and it does its job so well that you like get suckered in over and over and over again back to what you think this is, and then it's glitching, and you're like, brilliant narrative,
and
worth it.
And is it just because I didn't watch the videos long enough? Essentially, is it just clicking through text?
No, there are plenty of choices to make, and actually things you need to do as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Beyond choosing text.
I mean, like, most of it is choosing text, and I imagine since they've ported this to the Wii, that a lot of the things that you had to do in the PC version will no longer be there. But yeah, it was an experience, well worth it, and it's presented in a very, very cutesy way that it keeps suckering you in, and that's why it's so cool. I would strongly recommend it, and I'm sure you'll just never play it. Like, if I ever play Revelations, you're allowed to play that sort of thing, you know.
This week's podcast sponsored by Doki Doki Literature Club.
Yeah, and Richie banging on about it.
So is it that game that has convinced you that visual novels can be games?
No, I think using the broad term game when applying it to video games is a tough one, because it does have every single other element apart from, like, say, a puzzle or some kind of action mechanic or some kind of core. That being said, it is a digital form of telling you a story. Yes, the interaction is low, and yes, there's no engagement on the sort of action level. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So I'm going to say it's a video game.
Is a Kindle the world's biggest console?
No. I mean, even then, I doubt Kindles even outnumber, like, some of the handhelds that exist.
No, but books do.
Yeah, but
as in, if visual novels are a game,
is Kindle representative of it? I mean, like, I have a Kindle Fire. It's basically an Android tablet that happens to read books from the Amazon store.
Yeah,
you know.
But reading an ebook playing a game.
No, absolutely not. What a visual novel does offer you is digital assets like art and music and all sorts of other things.
Ebooks can have those?
Yeah, but probably not Well, I mean, like, okay, if they're going to border into visual novel territory, then sure, they can be, but I'm sure the number of them do not justify that being the biggest platform in your previous statement.
Okay.
Yeah, but dialing it back to just the written word,
no, the number
of course,
books
yeah,
being what makes it the biggest platform.
right, okay. So it's the console with the biggest number of games on it.
Yeah.
No, absolutely not.
Okay.
Right, and what's your stance, Farley?
What's the question again?
Are visual novels games?
Are visual novels games? Sure.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes. We got there in the end. Yes or no question. Okay. Now here's a more binary one for you. You ready for this?
More binary than yes or no.
Yeah. Well, okay, it's
Shit.
it's
Hard
moving.
yes. Hard no.
It's moving away from yes or no, but it's a binary answer. How does that help you? Okay.
Yeah.
Are you ready? Are you
equal amounts of no sense?
Have you adopted the brace position?
I have. Yeah. I've cleansed my palette of visual novel questions.
Okay. Good. Grand Theft Auto.
Yes.
Cars or motorbikes?
Oof. Oof. Now I'll talk through my options. If there was equal availability of both, it would be motorbikes, hands down. I prefer the motorbike. Love bombing around on a motorbike. It's easier to get around on a motorbike. Do the crazy stunts on a motorbike.
You can shoot straight forward on a motorbike.
You can shoot straight forward on a motorbike. You can do wheelies. You can, everything. Motorbike is brilliant. And even if it's even better when you properly stack it and go ragdolling across the level. However, depending on what GTA you're talking about, but in most of them, I think they are something you can't really rely on. In the same way that you can, there will be a car within running distance, right?
Yeah.
And even if you're kind of doing the thing where maybe you've got 1 or 2 stars and you're running down the street and you're trying to get into a vehicle and you see somebody with a motorbike go past, and then you kind of make an effort
yes,
to chase after that person or try to shoot them off the bike or steal a car just so you can ram the motorbike just so you can get on the motorbike. Yeah, but you can't always rely on them.
No.
To be around. They're hard to find. I remember in, I think, GTA 3, they were really scarce, but there was, I could remember the really fast bike in the showroom. And so then it became a meta game of just constantly,
Yes.
And it's spawned from the hospital, and now I have to go and make my way to get a motorbike. Half the time you wouldn't even get to the motorbike because some other shenanigans would happen. Or you'd get the motorbike and then instantly die because you're going too fast and hit the middle of the thing. Or
you just get on it and you go through that animation of putting on the helmet, and the person you knocked off the bike had just punched you in the side of the head or something like that,
Yeah.
But yeah, GTA 3 and Vice City, they both had that weird mechanic of whatever vehicle you're on at the moment, we'll spawn more of it around you. So it was always a bit of a kick to the crotch. It's like, I finally got my, the motorbike, and then just like 1,000 of them around you.
Everyone is riding a motorbike. Or when you think it's a motorbike, but it's actually a moped.
Oh God, yes.
You just buzzing along at 1 mile an hour or something on the moped.
Although I was a big fan of the bike, coming out of that in GTA San Andreas, that very first sort of bit where you got the bike. I mean that's the only reason my character never got fat, which is basically I did every mission on a bike.
It was quite fun, bro, because it's one of those things where if you were looking at, I don't think anyone's doing this, but if anyone was min-maxing, right, there is no reason to ever use a bike in GTA because it's less efficient. You have to keep pounding the the joypads to keep it going.
Well, yes, that is true. The San Andreas version on the PS2, you had to just keep tapping, and you had to tap it fast to actually do that. But do you know that they changed that?
In
every recent remake of it. So the HD version, which is pretty much the only version you get now, is actually based. This is really boring. It's actually based off of the iPad version of GTA San Andreas, where using the bike you just press and hold, and in this case it's the virtual joypad. But they ported that weirdly to the PS3 digital store and the 360 digital store and whatever like new versions, and they kept in that holding down button mechanic. I did a replay of San Andreas a few years back.
Way to ruin GTA San Andreas with one change.
Yeah.
Worst game ever.
It takes you roughly, 30 seconds to get over it. It really does. I mean, don't get me wrong. I've been through the motions. I did it. I was there, man. I fucking tapped that button.
Yeah.
But removing it so that you could actually just press and hold it and use it as a bike. Well, okay, yeah, that's fine. I'm not upset at that, and neither is my RSI.
But
so
you don't get to control the speed of your bike.
You do, because if you have analog buttons, you can choose what speed you're going at.
No.
Okay.
I still don't know. I'm still saddened.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to sadden you there, but basically the San Andreas
stopped with the PS2 release.
Yeah, the HD remake has things that you will like in it. Yeah,
things I like it. Who's ever fucking finished a GTA game, honestly?
Well, it depends on your definition of finished. Got to the end, done all the plot.
Yeah,
that's finished in a fashion.
Yeah,
collected all the pigeons. That's like, that's too far, man.
Have you hit the credits on any GTA game?
Yeah, I would say all of them.
All of them.
Wow, all the ones I've played.
Yeah.
So as GTA 3, Vice City, San Andreas, GTA 4, and GTA 5. Yeah.
Okay. What happens in the end of GTA 5?
What happens in the end of GTA 5?
Yeah.
One of them goes to jail, doesn't he?
I don't know. I've never finished them.
Like the main plot's easy to finish. It's just all of the side missions that distract you.
Yeah, maybe.
But you always know, like, once you finish the main plot, you can just go back and do open world stuff, and it doesn't make a difference.
Yeah.
And the other added benefit of it is actually when you complete the game, you finally get you have everybody's, special skills, like Trevor's rampages and all that sort of stuff, fully unlocked and things like that. And like, what's his face? Oh my god, I can't remember any of their names.
Franklin,
yeah. Franklin has he has driving skill updates as well. And I think he gets his final one in the final mission as well.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's worth playing through just so that you have everything at your arsenal. Everything at your arsenal? I don't know. I feel like that is a phrase, but it's wrong. It's wrong.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I think I did finish GTA 3 to get the mansion, don't you? I remember getting the mansion, but I don't think I've finished any of the others. In fact, I've probably done everything but finished them. Like all the side missions and UFO parts and submarine bits. But then, on GTA 5, I'd spend hours trying to get to the cinema when it was open on time and stuff like that.
Yeah, or what was it like? You had the I've forgotten the main character in GTA 4. What's his name? It's not Roman. It's
it's the guy that Roman talks to.
Yes,
keeps phoning all the time.
But you've got the girlfriends and you've got the friendships, and you've got to keep them up by going to internet cafes at certain times and things like that. Oh man, see, this is stuff I don't like in GTA at all. Mind you, I also don't like the shooting in GTA. I find it the most frustrating part of the game. Like, I like the driving, I like the going about, but then suddenly you're in a horrible warehouse and there's hundreds of people coming at you, and you're like, oh my god, auto aim, please.
Yeah.
How can I cheese my way out of this?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Fine.
What about you? Cars or bikes?
Oh, bikes, 100%. Yeah. Like, anytime I could get a bike, it's more maneuverable in traffic and all that sort of stuff. It's more fun to use a bike, and of course, no nonsense. You can shoot directly in front of you, not to the side of the window. You're shooting directly in front of you. Yeah,
which means you can't see where you're going when you're whilst you're doing that.
And it was like there were certain missions where you're like chasing down cars and stuff like that, like and you just have to shoot the tires out and stuff like that. Doing that in another car is a nightmare. Always go for the bike. Always go for the bike, Yeah.
Bike it is. Clear winner.
Bike is the winner.
Good question.
Yeah. Right. This one's actually for you entirely.
Okay.
Aeroplane dogfight or space dogfight?
Ooh. That is tricky. That is tricky. We may have talked about this on the spaceship episode.
We did a little bit, but I don't think we went into a lot of specific detail.
No, the differences. So the obvious advantage to airplane dogfight on land is that you have that whole cool thing with the horizon, right? It is, and so that's cool to have in the background, flipping around, and as the player, you can feel like you're going upside down or doing a barrel roll, or there is a very real risk that you will crash into the ground if you're,
gravity is a thing.
Yeah. But the downside to that is if you watch someone playing a flying game with dogfighting, is it can be the most boring thing to watch. But this is true in space as well, because essentially you're just chasing the little cursor, right? You've got a little cursor that says here's the enemy, and you're just kind of wrestling your plane to try and get the little cursor in the middle of your screen so that you can fire it. In space, you don't have that. Obviously, you don't have that element of there being a horizon, so you can go any which way. So I don't think it makes much difference, because most of the time you can't see yourself doing these things. And ideally, you need like a camera,
yes.
Or like an instant replay to show you what happened. Because otherwise it's you can't. You're just looking at the camera moving, really.
Yeah. You imagine you're done this most silky smooth barrel roll, flipped round, and you get that smarmy. Oh, I've got you in my sights now.
Yeah. But in reality, it's just probably two things right next to each other, but just spinning around on their axes, trying to find each other. Most boring thing ever. But I will say there is, as much as I do like space games and spaceships and the lasers and the railguns and all that nonsense, there is something there's something different, something purer maybe, with flying around a planet. It invokes all those. You don't really get them anymore, right? Do you have memories of watching just dogfighting films?
No, absolutely not. The closest I've seen to a dogfighting film is probably Top Gun. And I don't even think that had much about planes in it. It was just
Yeah, well, they just used to see, when my dad would watch the TV, it always felt like on a Sunday or whatever, it was either westerns or films about planes and somebody in a
war
cockpit and then they kind of splice in what I presume was just war footage of the planes crashing into the sea or blowing up in the sky. And there's a whole like subgenre of anime and Japanese games about this. So Skycrawlers was very good, both the game and the anime. So yeah, maybe I'd say it's airplane dogfights. And they're a much rarer beast, I think.
Okay. I have zero input on this one. This is a question entirely for you.
You got no skin in the game.
Like the closest I have to like space dogfighting or anything like that is like those mini games you'd get on like the Star Wars games where you're controlling the Millennium Falcon or the fake Millennium Falcon from Shadows of the Empire or whatever. You know.
What's the name of the main character in that game?
Dash Rendar. Don't fuck with me. Right.
And did you have a preference?
I like probably the idea of space dogfighting more. Airplane dogfights probably step too much into the realm of flight sim. And anytime I've ever touched any sim, it has been a disgusting, horrible world of tutorials where you realise that you actually have to devote hours and hours just to learn a control. And sims hurt me. Like, we were talking about the train sim the other day there on the podcast. You know, the ones where you can actually, like, go and do like Waterloo to Portsmouth if you wanted to. You know what I mean?
Hello.
Hello. Okay.
I lost you.
You disappeared.
No, you disappeared. You were mid thing.
No, I was still talking away.
Yeah, you said hours and hours and then just vanished.
Oh, no, well, I was still talking, if that
Okay.
helps, and it was still doing stuff. So, hang on, we need to pumpkaboo this. Yeah, so the thing with Sims is that there's such a steep learning curve that it's hideous to think about the amount of time and effort you need to spend putting in on them. So I would say that I prefer space dogfighting because in general it's going to be more accessible, he says in a high-pitched tone.
What about, would you say the Death Star run, which I'm sure we've both done in many different games?
Yes, many
that's
different runs.
Not, is that space dogfighting?
Usually there is a precursor scene where you are taking down TIE fighters before you're allowed to go and do the Death Star run.
Literally every single time. It's shoot these towers, shoot these TIE fighters, now you're allowed to do the run.
Yeah. So yes, it does count as space dogfighting in a fashion, but again, like and I suppose what was it, Rogue Squadron? It was mostly all space dogfighting. No, it wasn't, was it? No. It had a ceiling and a floor. We went over this before. I'm so glad we're rehashing our old podcasts already. That evergreen content is evergreen. We're going to pick it twice, you know?
Having the same new thoughts. Genuinely new.
Yeah.
Despite the fact that they're clearly old.
Yeah. Really, really old as well. Okay.
Yeah. I could do with a Ace Combat still hanging in there.
Yeah, you quite like that one, yeah.
But I appreciate your point about proper flight sims. And if any of these space combat or airplane combat games actually gave you proper sim controls, they'd probably demonstrate how it's actually really, really hard to shoot down another plane when you're in a plane.
Yes, that is probably, and I'm sure games like that actually exist, and they don't sound fun.
I like, the world record holder has like 18 kills. And he's been playing the game for 25 years.
Yeah, and like actually has like a flight control stick and a chair and like 7 screens so that he's got the proper flight sim, shit going on. Fuck that. Like I'm not in. I'm not down for that sort of stuff at all.
No. Give me easy mode and missiles.
Yeah. Homing missiles.
Yeah.
Yeah. Behind a currency.
Well, if you've got one currency, you might as well have 3.
Yeah, exactly. Right, okay. So, you say plane combat, and I say space combat.
There we go.
Yeah, there we go. It's where we've got to. Now, this is something that this next question. I assume you're ready to move on to the next question. Are you prepared? Yep. Okay, cool.
I'm ready.
Which kind of scrapes on a couple of things that we've already talked about. So, Farley.
Yes.
Hyper-realistic graphics or anime graphics?
Is it specifically those 2 options?
Those 2 options.
Okay. This might not be too much discussion, he says, cautiously. 30 minutes later, we're still talking. What is hyper? No, I think I'd choose anything, almost anything over hyper realistic. So yeah, anime for me. Just because
I'm just thinking of the recent trend where you've got the Kashima game where they carry the backpack and the babies in the rain and stuff like that. I forget what it's called.
Death Stranding, is that?
Yes, that one. And
Christ. Although you're spot on in that there is a trend in that there are at least there's like Horizon Zero Dawn. He's also carrying a baby around.
Is it? Okay, sorry.
Yeah, there's a lot of baby carrying in hyper realistic environments at the moment.
But they're doing the whole motion capture in the face to actually put those people in the game.
Yeah.
Like you had Kevin Spacey a few years ago before he got cancelled, actually in one of those war games, and you got the bad guy from Breaking Bad season 3. He's recently been put in a game, and it's just like they've taken all this effort to recreate this person entirely.
Yeah. Despite the fact
to be in the cutscenes of this game.
Yeah. Despite the fact that that whole endeavour peaked with Command and Conquer.
By actually just putting in a cutscene with a video of them.
Yeah, just filming them on a green screen.
Yeah.
Or like a Red Dwarf set. Yeah.
Red Dwarf set. I dig it, yeah.
Yeah, I think even if you do, well, it's barely merits mentioning. Of course, you have the uncanny valley, and even as we approach hyperrealism, occasionally I'll get caught out by things, but that's mostly on context. I should be watching an advert or something on TV, perhaps, and you'll be like, "Oh, is that CG or not?" But in games, I think even if you do a really, really good job, it just becomes really boring.
Yes.
So
I think that's the problem. Like, unless they're going to do something really outlandish with it.
Yeah. So do hyperreal and then do something that you'd never see otherwise. It just you just accept it, and it becomes a bit a bit boring. So the Assassin's Creed games are absolutely stunning, and beautiful and hyper real, sort of graphics wise. Yeah, hyper real graphics wise.
Yeah.
Then you don't do some silly gameplay thing that doesn't make any sense, or you watch a horse half run up a wall.
Yes.
But it doesn't stand out, or it's not as memorable as something which has taken a completely different style. And in this case, we're talking about an anime style.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there is a glut of anime games, like, because almost everything that comes on, like, you can just search for like Japanese on Steam Store, and you'll just get a ton of cel shaded anime games as well, which sort of begin to blend into each other as well. In that sort of
it's
fashion.
really hard. It's really hard. If you're, just scrolling social media or watching like a what's coming up video on YouTube or something, and it's really hard to tell them apart. Yeah, all right, here's some pink-haired schoolgirl, and here's some blah blah blah. This could be anything from Guilty Gear through to
Sailor Moon.
Galgun. Yeah, Sailor Moon. I have no idea, or you see people who are obsessed over one particular character. It's like, I've not. You could tell me that was from a game, a manga, somebody's original character. They all look the same.
Or it could be one of those YouTube idols or whatever,
Yeah. It could, or even just like a mascot of the Japanese bin men or something.
Mascot of cup noodle,
Yeah. But in saying that, you do get, you obviously get you can get different stylings of animes. You get watercolor.
Yeah, of course. You get lots of different work is done on it. And of course,
you get your chibi. Yeah.
And Ghibli's moved into 3D recently as well. The Pixar version one.
Shame. Yeah, I think the hybrid.
Did you see it?
The hybrid. Yeah.
I thought it was quite good. I thought it was fine. I got over it almost immediately.
Yeah, I just feel let down. Just watching it. Like, I prefer.
Yeah, I mean they did that. The Princess something or other, and that was all watercolor painting, and it was beautiful. It was wonderful, all hand done, and all that sort of stuff. And then the next one they bring out is a 3D Pixar version of Ghibli, and I'm like,
yeah,
fine.
Or that weird hybrid thing that you see where, it mostly looks like it's been animated in a certain style, and then there'll be like, 3D bit to it, or a bit where it is a animated character over computer graphics. It dates really badly, really poorly.
It's like, it's already jarring when you're watching it, and you just know that in 10 years' time it's going to be like, oh my god, why did we ever, put up this stuff? Yeah. It's like the etched on lightning strikes you get in Hellraiser.
Exactly.
Awful special effect. The only special effects in it, it's just like, ugh, apart from the prosthetics. Yeah.
And maybe when it came out, it was sort of cutting edge and got away with it because it was sort of cutting edge.
But you were still kind of like, ooh, wow, okay.
Yeah. How did they do that? And then a year afterwards, it just like, absolute shite. There's I don't think they do it anymore, but there's Marvel and maybe DC also went through a phase of doing that. So there were computer generated comics, and they just look so bad. Yeah. So yeah, I think I'm just going to choose anime just because it's not hyper real. You?
Yeah, I, for many of the same reasons. Like the hyper real stuff, I just feel like it's good that they're doing the effort, but it's still not as good as any deepfake stuff that anybody has done. And I feel like that could be a route that's more sensible. But I don't know. I would say I prefer anime graphics because I don't know. You're playing in a virtual world, not doing a fucking sim of some kind. So I suppose it's very similar to what I was banging on about in the previous question. I think I like anime stylings, but I am also like you. Like I have the otaku leanings, but I have zero idea when people start banging on about a character from this thing. Look at her. She's got pink hair, and like, I have no idea who this is, and why should I know who this is? You know, is this a character from Pokemon that I don't know? Is it a gym leader that I've completely forgotten about?
Or is this Miku again, but with different hair, or Chef Miku, or blah blah blah? Or
See, I don't even know who Miku is.
You know Hatsune Miku?
Zero, no.
She has a bunch of karaoke games, but she's one of these virtual idols. But you just see it there's like 100
blue
million.
hair.
Yeah.
Yes, and she's got like, she's sci-fi-ish.
Yeah, she can be everything. So she's done a collaboration with some real pop band. There's like racing style Miku, and there's chef style Miku. Then she's got her own games, and then I'm sure she's got 20 visual novels, and you can buy just one of the most successful, I think, of these virtual idols.
So successful, I didn't know who you were talking about. But despite
the fact you've definitely would have seen her in a load of different things.
Yeah.
And then the other funny thing about it is it seems to be a trope about hyper-realistic graphics. Seems to be around like what do you call it? When the different graphics cards release the tech demos, not tech demos.
Yeah.
Or when a new big game that's going for hyper-real graphics will do a teaser, and for some reason, freckles and skin spots has become the thing.
I know. And again, it's like I always feel sorry for that guy. Like, it's the Breaking Bad actor, and I don't know his name, but he has recently been put into a video game, and he has blemishes, and every single blemish in his face is made into this 3D re-rendered version of him, that's motion captured and everything. You're just like, come on, really? Surely as a video game you want to move a little bit away from something as gritty and real as that. Like, I feel as though if you were to make an anime version of him instead, and it would work in exactly the same way and tell the same story. It's a Far Cry game. It's the latest Far Cry game.
Exactly. I think that's it. And for a while it was the eyes, right? The eyes are always the giveaway, and then now eyes have kind of been cracked, and now the battleground seems to be blemishes on the face. But the hilarious thing is, aside from that opening cutscene when they're standing on a ledge and looking at sunrise, you're not looking at their fucking face the entire rest of the game. Maybe in a cutscene here or there.
Yeah.
And all that effort for very little game.
Yes.
Did you remember when awful movie Final Fantasy: The Spirits Within came out? And one of the things that they were boasting around, that was supposed to demonstrate their chops, was the amount that what's her name, Aki Ross's hair cost. And,
it was like
a team of 17 CGI artists spent 24 years just doing her hair.
They did a thing where they actually grew her hair virtually, so that it would actually grow out of her head, and each strand would move individually. For each frame.
As if anyone's like,
no.
Did it even come out of the cinema? I don't know. But, they're watching the film, and she comes off, and they're just in the middle of the cinema, just stand up, fuck this.
Yeah. They should have just made it like Cloud's hair, and it's just this spiky mess that just sits in his head, absolutely solid.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ugh.
Rather than Sony Pictures spending 24 million on a fucking hair.
And they can't even spell Sid right. I mean, that's the worst part of it all. Like, a team of 17 people, 14 million hours getting the hair right, and they spell Sid S-I-D rather than C-I-D.
I know. Put a bit more money towards your subtitle team.
Yeah. Knob ends.
Yeah. Or, for that matter, make a movie that isn't really fucking boring.
Yeah. I don't like. I own like the special edition DVD of that one, but I'm not sure I've ever seen the special edition shit, or indeed the movie more than once. I know that we watched it at least once.
Yeah.
Because I was one of these cool kids who had a DVD player in his PC.
Yeah.
Remember those days?
Yeah. I watched the whole. I've got the extra disc edition. I watched the whole thing. Just because I wanted to really like it, because it was Final Fantasy related.
Yeah.
It's just not very good.
No.
It's just really boring.
No.
It looks
I
really nice.
I even saw it in the cinema. God.
This is dating us.
It really is, yeah.
No one has ever heard of this.
Right, okay, let's move on to my last question. The consensus is anime. Fuck hyperrealism.
Yeah.
You're going in the wrong wrong way, guys. Yeah.
And that's not just because we're weebs or in any way weeby inclined. It's because it's anything but hyperrealism.
Yeah. So last one.
Yes.
Shooters. Should they have health regen over time or health pickups?
Ooh. Now, I've been playing Doom and Turok and Quake a lot recently.
Perfect, because I was actually going to say FPSs, but then I realised Gears of War has that health regen effect as well. But yeah, okay, cool. Yeah.
Which are all health pickup games.
Oh.
And old Dooms, not new Doom. Doom 2, Doom 64. And there's something about health and armor pickups, basically the same thing, which creates a rhythm to those games. Right? I'm sure somebody who's actually good at thinking and writing about games has written something beautiful about exactly this, because it does changes the dynamic. Right? I have to get through this bit, and then I have to find, chop up my stuff, and so it creates a rhythm and flow to the levels, and it creates a value when you find a little secret stash, because you're like, oh, okay, I was gonna struggle on this,
and you learn to know where the armor pack is, and
and there's a less of a preciousness about getting hit. I mean, you still don't want to die, obviously, but you will be taking a lot of damage as you go. And so that it becomes part of an economy that you have to manage, should we say, because everything has to be an economy. Then maybe it's just a coincidence, but also all of those games had really good level design. I still, even now, when I pop Doom on, and you're playing it, even though it's fairly simple because you're running for a blue key card, there's just something about the way those levels are structured. The fact that you can see across the different parts of the level, the secret ways around them, the different styles between corridors, walkways, and open areas, made for some really memorable levels. In a way that I'm sure if you popped on Doom 2, you'd probably remember all the secrets in the first couple of levels, right?
Yeah.
And the same is true of Quake, and the same is true of Turok, even though Turok has platforming. Well, I guess Quake does as well. Platforming bits to it, which a certain degree of which should probably be left in the And then when it comes to health regeneration, so your halos, you are introduced with your halos and your gears of war, completely changes the way you play those games, because you're never in a situation, or you've done really badly.
You have the ability to just sort of, right, shit, I'm taking too much damage. I just need to hide behind a thing for a little while. And of course, that's a stressful thing, like gotta hide, not get hit, so that my health can regen, and then I can go back out and kill them. And of course, like with Halo, of course, there was the I think it was Halo 3. You had the ultra horrible mode where you didn't have health regen. You just basically had, don't get hit or you're gonna die. Sort of thing.
And that game becomes a vastly different prospect.
Yeah.
But you're never, or you've done really badly if you're in a situation where, okay, which you just can't get unless you're under constant mild bombardment. But in those other games where you do have health pickups, you'll be like, okay, I have 5 health. I've checkpointed here. I have to get through the next section. You never get that in Halo because
you just need to. You need to find your point where you're going to regen, and then shoot the bad guys and hope they're not going to run to you in time.
Yeah. But then there's it's not surprising that regenerating health landed along the same time as cover shooting became popular. And redefined the first-person shooter. And there's still a place for both, right? So you still got.
Here's an interesting allegory that's just popped into my head. So, if you think of health regen and lives to a certain effect as well, as the coins that go into the machine, so they are your lives, they are your 25 cents per play, whereas health regen is kind of like games nowadays which don't have dying in it. Everything's become a little bit more, you don't die, you don't lose, you just have an infinite amount of tries at things.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think obviously the advantage to the shield system is you don't just hit a wall, right? It gives you time to figure things out, and then you can work out, okay, here's what I need to do to get past this next bit. Whereas with those other games, it's a little bit more trial and error, right? I've been hit by a Minotaur, the rocket launcher. I am dead. I don't really know what happened. So it allows a little bit less brutal, but then it allows you to do some clever things, or set up set pieces, or play with the scenery, so you can kind of edge your way along and keep your shield up.
Yeah, and just keep you
Your
engaged
thoughts?
with the flow. I don't know, like, I mean, the first thing I think of was Gears of War and the cover mechanic, and you have that ability to, well, not only do you have the ability to have cover, but if the enemy does eventually come and find you, you just chainsaw them to death.
Cheating.
Yeah, cheating. But also, like, Borderlands, the entire mechanic is kind of based around shields and health, both of which regen over time.
Mm-hmm.
Well, actually, no, health doesn't, shields do. You pick up med packs, but you actually get shields, which have different effects. So, like, if a shield disappears, it explodes, or if a shield disappears, you get a sudden speed boost, or something like that. You have these perks and abilities, sort of like the roleplay, choose your tree side and equip different things. I don't think I hated the shield mechanic, but I guess there's a sort of video game Puritan in me that misses health packs in video games. You know, like, I mean, I know it sounds silly. Why do you miss them? Just go and play those old games, you twat. But I don't know. I just like what you were saying about the flow of finding the health pack that has been put there by a video game level designer to make that, you know, an accessible thing, or you need to get through this encounter, which becomes more in your head, you know? It's like, I know the fire chucking zombie man is going to be there, whereas, you know, the guy with the rocket launchers on his shoulder, he doesn't appear till then. So if I can take him out and then get around there, and then I can get the health pack, and who knows what lies beyond that, you know? Like that becomes more than shooty, oh shit, run away, hide, get my shield back, shooty, run, hide, get shield back, because I'm shit and I get shot all the time. That's the other thing. Like, in games where there's so much regen, it's basically because you're getting hit an awful lot. It makes you feel a bit shit at the game as well.
Well, also, I mean, you know, the secret reason behind it is for online gaming. Right?
Yeah, of course.
And yeah, an online shooter. We've both played them, where you die in the first 5 seconds just isn't fun.
No.
Whereas a shield or regenerating health system, you know, creates a bit of... I mean, you can still just keep dying within 5 seconds if you're really bad. But it creates a bit of a to and a fro, and you can have a comeback, and obviously potentially rounds last a lot longer, which is why I think that system took off, and it's no coincidence that it took off.
Around
was
the advent
of the console shooters.
Yeah.
Obviously, PC shooters have been doing it for a long time before.
Yeah.
And it also creates, like, there's moments in GoldenEye, right, where in multiplayer, and you know, you have to make a mad dash for the armor or the health pack, so that you don't die, and the other person's trying to chase you.
And hope that it has regened or respawned as well. You know.
Yeah. Hope that it's there. Hope that nobody else has taken it. Hope that you don't lose your last block of life, and you can see the bullet holes in front of you from somebody who's trying to shoot you, creating that tension. Yeah. So I'd say, I don't know, maybe I would always say this just because of the vintage of gamer that we are, but I do have more of a soft spot for the health pack. But then I don't play many of these games online.
No.
Because but also along with them regenerating health, you know, you've got the all those little tropes of, you know, oh, you've got blood on the screen, or the screen's red, you know, all the things saying, or you've got bullet holes on your camera and your screen, and even then, even if you do get done that way, you know, then you go into like the prone position, and then someone can come and revive you. Whereas I prefer the far more nihilistic, just you're dead.
Yeah.
The body explodes. Or in Doom, when we used to play Doom on the PlayStation over the LAN cable, you'd just be forced to look at your pixelated dead body, and the other person run past before you kind of respawn. That was it.
Yeah. Yep. Okay, I think we both land on the same sort of platform there. Land on the platform. Why did I have to make it so abstract? You know?
Don't know. Both landed on the platform that is curiosity.
Yeah. Anyway, I think it's time you ask me a question.
Richie, why did he bite me?
That guy's a maniac.